All right, welcome back to LWN Network, folks. Wow, just a lot of stuff going on in the news in the last 24 hours. We thought that be worth coming on tonight and maybe talking a little bit about the JFK files that was just dropped and released yesterday evening. A lot of people going through them. I've watched a lot of different people trying to make sense of it. So some of the same questions, I don't know if it answered any questions or just made more questions for us. Was Oswald the only shooter? FBI Director Hoover says we have to make American people believe it was just Oswald. Was the CIA involved? Did George H. Walker Bush play a part? How come it takes so long for them to release these files to us? It's been 60 years, right? Why was JFK assassinated? Was LBJ involved? And a little bit more to talk about tonight. And so we will catch that and much more. I got Tammy the Hammer Nation with me tonight, and we'll get to it right after this intro.
You can see it in the sky. No use running, if you do, you won't survive. People are sick and people are tired, but inside of me rages a fire. We the people are going to burn this corruption to the ground. Yeah, we the people will fight fire with fire starting now. Going to burn this corruption to the ground. Yeah, we the people will fight fire with fire starting now. Gonna watch them run, gonna watch it burn, gonna watch it all come down. Yeah, we the people are gonna burn this corruption to the ground. With fire starting now. Gonna watch them run, gonna watch it burn, gonna watch it all come down, yeah.
Uh-oh. Oh, hold on. There we go. I got to push one more button. One more button. All right. We're back. Just real quick, Tammy, I want to hop in chat real quick and say hello to as many people as we can tonight. And you can help me out there too. Okay. So just want to say hello to people. It's been a while, and thank you for all the support, and thanks for coming back. Don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. More importantly, share us out. I mean, we've been getting 24, 25 shares on all of our shows that we've been doing just on Facebook alone. So that's a huge, huge thing. So I want to say hello to my Aunt Helen, my Aunt Jeanette here in Idaho. Ancy, hello. Georgia, hello to you. I want to say good morning because I'm used to devotions with Georgia, so it's hard for me not to say good morning. Of course, we got Chase and we've got Carlene, mother-daughter, some of our two favorite mods from Wisconsin. Thanks for joining us this evening. We've got Trainwreck Travis with us as well. Search for Truth, and let's see, who else do we got here?
Pamela Howard's in here. Hello, Pamela. Rosebud 15's in here. Good evening to you.
Texas Patriot Girl is with us. Let's
Sunflower Hippie 62, like that name. Hello.
Yeah, they've been with us for a while.
Yep.
Glamour of Hope 22 over on Rumble with us as well. Joe Dodds, Joe Carroll. Good to see you. She's been with us for a long time as well. Let's see. Ziggy's with us again tonight. Good to see you. And let's see.
Sean's in here. Cheryl Hogg. Good evening, you guys.
Twig Twister. Did you say Twig Twister?
Nope.
From Rumble? All right. I got that one wrong the other night, but I hope I got it right tonight. They're with us over there on Rumble, too. Like I said, Rumble's a big deal for us over there. How about Michelle Gale? Did you say hello?
Nope.
All right,
so we're
Michelle
saying hello
Gale.
now.
We're
Joselle
saying hello.
Roberts, hello. Yep. Angela Church, always in. Hello, good to see you again.
Rhonda McEnany is with us. Long-time listener. Sean's with us again on Facebook. Says, I'm here in Wisconsin. We got a lot of people in Wisconsin that watch the show, so that's awesome. And again, I'm looking at Rumble right now too on my phone. So we got like 31 of them in there in Rumble right now. So if you guys want to join them over in Rumble, it's the same as YouTube, and you guys can hop over there, and there's chat over there too. We got like 49 with us here on Facebook and YouTube tonight, so it'll start getting there. It'll start gaining some traction as soon as we get going here, Tammy.
Yeah, and Brenda and Michael in here want to say hi to them as well. And then
long-time listeners.
Yeah, and a big thank you to Deborah Post, who bought us a coffee to start the evening off right. So thank you so much for purchasing that for us and supporting the channel and supporting us, Deborah Post.
Yes, I'm going to say this about Buy Me a Coffee. Tammy has been working her butt off all week, and today really hard. Like, she was going, and then I called and said, hey, should we do this breaking news? And no. And then I said, well, I think we should do a show tonight. She had to hurry and put things together for us. So if you guys want to help support this channel, tonight would be a great night to buy Tammy a coffee, because I think she might need it. She's been going pretty hard all week. So if you guys want to help us out, you guys, the mods dropped the link there in chat on Facebook, YouTube, and probably Rumble as well. If you guys want to buy us coffee, or you can help support the channel over there on Rumble by just doing a super chat, and it'll pop up here in our main feed. We can see your super chat. So anyway, wanted to say that because Tammy's been working really hard on headline hits. She's got one more day, which is tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you guys can get your little fix on the headlines for the day as you're getting your day started. And I enjoy listening to it every morning when I get a chance. We got Michael Short with us from Boston, England, over there on Rumble. So nice to see you tonight. So we've got, I don't know if we have any answers tonight, Tammy. It's more questions than answers, but we've been kind of beating our head up against the wall all afternoon trying to figure out what was in those documents that was maybe a big gotcha moment, or hey, there it is, or wow, we knew it, or any of that stuff. And I've been combing through it. I've been listening to other people that are using AI to comb through it, and not a whole lot. I know Danny Jr. on Facebook had made a comment earlier today that it was just more of a waste of time. And some other comments were it's just more distractions. And I don't disagree with those comments. I mean, I was excited for these files to be released because I thought, okay, maybe we're going to get to the bottom of some things. But, Tammy, is it just more distractions? Because we've talked about this earlier, And what really is probably going to be the biggest thing out there is going to be the Epstein list. But we're going to stay focused on JFK tonight. Do you think it's just another distraction?
Well, the thing is, we've been waiting for this forever, right? Decades we've been waiting for this. And I found it interesting today as I was scouring through information to try to find out details, as well as skimming through the documents as best I could. You were doing the same thing. And the only thing that I found is, how come with all these documents out, I'm not finding the moment, the thing that I am looking for? Why is it pretty much I'm only seeing the same stuff we've heard over and over again? The documentaries that have been made, and a lot of people are coming out and say they didn't even expect a bombshell to be dropped at all with these documents. And I'm thinking, well, why did they hold all these documents back for all these years other than to cover their own butts or the buddies' butts? It's kind of baffling to me. It's like, am I missing something? I mean, I'm working pretty hard here, and usually I can find, the little golden nugget, I like to call it, and it's not there. I don't see it. We already kind of think we knew or thought that LBJ was involved, Bush's, and it goes on. But I don't know. I just didn't have that moment, Mike, at all.
I haven't had that moment either. And I'm going to go back to the very beginning. And my question was this. Why do I feel like they wanted JFK unalived? Right? That's where I go to. That's to me, that's the biggest question. Is why, excuse me. And I mean, there's all kinds of, I guess, facts, videos, information out there to say that JFK was at a moment in time where he wanted to give power back to the people, and he was going to expose corruption, just like what Donald Trump is doing right now. He wanted to, in his own words, but Carlene had sent me put a message on earlier today that he was going to splinter the CIA. And I think that he was going to bring a lot of change to America. And I think that didn't set well for a lot of people. And so when I have to ask the question, why, I guess there would be some really good points and origins to start from, just from that situation there, where he was going to turn things back over to the power to the people. He was going to change things, get rid of the IRS, get rid of the CIA. And, big government, they don't like that. They don't like it when you shrink them. Just look at what's going on with Donald Trump right now, trying to shrink the government, using Elon Musk and his team to find fraud, and they're having absolute meltdowns. What's your thoughts, Tammy?
I think it is very reminiscent of what JFK was going to do. I have heard that too. I have thought that, and they don't like it. Now, there is also information that came out with this, that there's a document that did place Bush with CIA agent Felix Rodriguez. And Rodriguez was the right-wing Cuban, recruiting right-wing Cuban exiles for the invasion of Cuba. And it was Bush's job at the time to organize that Cuban community in Miami for the invasion. And, Rodriguez was the Iran-Contra CIA agent. So when we're talking about then and now, Donald Trump and his administration is trying to rid all the garbage, expose it all. And I believe JFK was doing it then as well. And that's why he got the axe, because when you go back to the things that you remember, the articles that you've read, the things that come out, it's amazing how LBJ had everything to gain by what happened, how Bush then, was involved according to some of these documents. And he ran, and he was part of the CIA, and then he became president, and then Iran and Iraq and all that went on when he was in the presidency. So you can kind of piece it together over the years, and you can understand, it almost seems like corrupt politicians in control and power versus somebody trying to be very transparent and getting all this throwback like Trump's administration is. Each and every day they're getting fired at left and right by all sorts of people, from judges to other politicians to people. It doesn't matter. Why wouldn't our government just want to be transparent and just represent we the people. Why? Because they're corrupt, and it goes back to decades, in my opinion.
Now, wait a minute. George H. Walker Bush, when asked multiple times where was he at during November 22nd, 1963, he said he didn't recall. Couldn't recall where he was at. But yet there's documents out there putting him in Texas that fateful day. And matter of fact, one of the documents I read today stated that he had called the CIA, it was either the CIA or the FBI office 10 minutes after the shooting.
Yes.
To basically, I guess, prepare himself an alibi, right? And so, I don't know. I'm going to ask the chat tonight. Does the chat feel like George H. Walker Bush Sr., was he involved in any way on that fateful day there in Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth? Do you guys think he was involved in any way, a part of the CIA? I know a lot of people do. I saw photos today, documents today, where Junior was there walking around. He must have been kind of a teenager, I would guess. But there is, I guess, photos, and I don't know if it's photoshopped. I don't know if the photos are real or accurate, but it showed George Walker Bush, George W., there also in the exact same area. So I don't know. Is that a coincidence? Was he there with his father? Just seems awful weird that George W. would be there, but his dad wouldn't, right? I guess that's what I take away from the photo. Why would he be there but not George Sr.?
Very good point. Very good point. And a lot of the photos obviously date from the 60s, and there's sound recordings from the 60s. But as I was going through these files, most of them are scans of documents, and therein, because they're old or whatever in their scans, they're blurred. Some have become faint. They're hard to read. So that is the big letdown. I mean, it's like when you have a receipt from the grocery store and you keep it, and then you pull it out years later and it's blank. You know what I mean? It's like, why am I keeping this? So my theory is, and my belief is, they held it so long to protect themselves or protect everything that they wanted to continue to go. All these networks and chains that they had across the places they did, they want to keep it going for the generations like they have. And it was a money-making machine, what they've done, and what they've been doing. That's obvious to me now when we see what Doge has uncovered with our own government. I think it's when President Trump said he wants to drain the swamp, I don't think we had any idea how deep that swamp really was and is and has been for so long. I
don't think he did. Honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think he did either. Here's a comment from Rosebud over on Rumble. Do you think more will be rolled out after the dust settles? Will bigger boom come from JFK Jr.'s letter about Senator Biden? Now, here's where I'm a little confused on this, and maybe chat can help me. Thank you, White Devil. White Devil bought us a coffee. Maybe they bought you the coffee, Tammy, since you need it more than I do. And I wanna read it real quick because that's the cool thing about buying us a coffee. You buy us a coffee, you can also put a comment in there. Track ties of Alan Dulles to Prescott Bush, which Prescott Bush is George H. Walker Bush's father, and he also, if I remember correctly, he was tied to World War II and to helping fund both sides of the war in World War II. If I remember my research correctly, Prescott Bush was part of that too. So here's where I get a little bit confused on the comment that Rosebud made about JFK Jr.'s letter to Senator Biden. I want to say it was JFK himself had written a letter to, at that time, Senator Biden, and said that basically he's a disgrace and he was a traitor to his country. So my question is, was that JFK or was that JFK Jr.? Because I believe it was Senior, and again, I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but I was looking at it late last night, and it seemed like that was documentation that was part of the files that was written by JFK Jr. or sorry, JFK himself. What's your thoughts there, Tammy?
I think so. I mean, it's just when you go back all these years, like I said over and over, how is it possible to keep all of this quiet for all these years? And there's classified documents. But when you look through the chain of command and where that extends out to, that chain of command doesn't stay within the United States of America and doing what's best to protect we, the people of the United States of America. It is to protect them and also the people they are wheeling and dealing with, whether it's the dealing of drugs, the money laundering, on and on and on. So I don't believe anything was clear and cut and dry and open and honest about it, even when it comes to Oswald being the lone shooter. I mean, there's been the Warren Commission came out and agreed and said that they studied it for a year, that he was the lone shooter. They said we went through 25,000 or something interviews and tens of thousands of interviews as well, and running down the leads. That's what it was, 25,000 interviews and running down tens of thousands of leads. And they said, yep, he's the only one. Well, if he's the only one and they all agree on it and put it in a pretty little package, why didn't it just come out? Why are we 50, 60 years later still having the same kind of questions we've had?
Mm-hmm.
There's no answers. So they tell us what they want us to know, right? They tell us what they want us to believe.
Well, Mike on YouTube is saying Biden would have been in his early 20s. It was Junior. Well, here's a fact. Joe Biden was one of the youngest senators ever elected to office in his 20s. But if it was 60 years ago that JFK assassination happened, Biden's only been in politics right around 50 years. So yeah, very well, if I do the math on that, it very well could have been Junior. I'm still not sure. So to add to your comment about Oswald being the lone shooter, so in these documents, I heard some people talking on it earlier today, and they said that in the limousine they actually found, which this doesn't make any sense to me, there was a bullet that hit Kennedy in the back, and they said that the bullet went into his back and then fell out. It was under the back seat of the limo. They found the bullet, and that's how they determined that Oswald wasn't the only shooter, because there was no way that Oswald could shoot, which I've seen lots of different documentaries where they've reenacted the shooting and timed how long it took him to shoot. But they said that was part of their proof that there was more than one shooter. But you know, this only shooter, I just cannot believe it. I don't believe it. I've seen other documentaries where James had he was in prison. He claimed that he was the one that shot, JFK, and I don't know, man. I just don't believe in the single shooter. I definitely do not believe in the only the magic bullet. You know what the magic bullet is, Tammy, where it went and hit him through the back, then it went into the governor of Texas in the back, then it went down and hit his knee, and then came up and hit his arm, or I don't know. It bounced around several times. I do not believe, even after these documents are released, that Oswald was the only shooter. And I actually watched the left today, Face the Nation, and they came out and said that these documents actually prove that Oswald was the only shooter, and I don't believe that for a minute.
No, and when you watch the footage, now there's footage that came out, is spreading like crazy again today, about the driver of the car that turned around, raised the gun, and then that's when you saw this, okay? That's when Jackie O came out and tried to climb out of the car, away from the car. Now, we've been told she did that because she panicked. She was worried about her life, whatever. It was a reaction to the sounds. I don't believe that. Or her husband's pieces of his, flying all over her flesh. I don't believe that. To me, it makes more sense if there's the driver turns around and goes whoop, like we see in slow motion. That's your automatic response to flee, because you're not thinking about protect my husband, anything. You're thinking about saving your own life at the moment. It's just like that fast. So, I don't agree. And, then you've got Jack Ruby that comes in and goes pow, pow to, Oswald. And I'm like, what the heck? So there's just so many things that they spun at the time that all these years later, with the documents being faded and people being gone, are we really going to have any definite answers, or do we just already have them,
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing that really, this makes me proceed with caution and have concerns that we're not being told the truth, because the FBI director at the time was Hoover. And he made a statement where he said, we have to make the American people believe that it was just Oswald. Now, that was less than an hour after the shooting, and they didn't even want to pursue any other leads. They wanted Oswald to be the only person, and that came from the director of the FBI. Now, that's pretty concerning to me, that they're not willing to chase down leads. They're not willing to listen to any eyewitnesses. It was just simply, nope, it's Oswald, and we're moving forward. So, I again, that came out in the documents. That's probably old news. I know he went on record and said that. Even LBJ, I saw a thing today where he made comment right after the shooting that he felt like it was other nations that took part in this. It was a conspiracy from other nations, and I don't believe that either. So one of my other questions was this, that still is not answered, but yet I feel like I got my answer, but it's not, I guess, black and white. Was the CIA involved?
Okay. So what? Yeah, and I think that makes a heck of a lot of sense of why things were so convoluted the way they were. We have to remember that the John F. Kennedy presidency was a time of Camelot. People loved the Kennedys. People still love the Kennedys. So whatever they were going to do, they had to make sure that it was wrapped up, cut and dried, and sealed and put away, that it wouldn't really cast enough doubt in the Americans where they would revolt and whatever they would do, right? They wanted to keep us as calm as possible. They wanted to make sure that we could mourn our president the best that we could and get our mind off of how did this happen, what really happened till years later, as we process things. But it did, actually General Mike Flynn came out and said that is his opinion that the JFK files do prove that the CIA was involved and they committed this act. He said criminal conspiracy to undermine and assassinate a president of the United States of America. And he said that we need accountability. And I back that. We do need to have accountability, but are we? Because so many of them are dead and they're gone. It's not like there's a lot of them left anymore. So where does the accountability come from?
I'm not going to say what I really think about the CIA because I might not wake up tomorrow.
Hey, I want to, so we better just take it easy. This is all for entertainment purposes only.
This is for yeah, that's our disclaimer. This is for entertainment purposes only. Thank you for that. But I believe that they were definitely involved. Whatever part they were playing, whether it was George H. Walker Bush playing a part in that. One of my other questions was LBJ involved? And I think he was, I don't have any hard proof on that. Like a lot of this stuff, and I hear a lot of other shows talking about speculation, like there's all kinds of extreme speculation. This is one of the biggest conspiracy theories of all time. Probably, if you had to look in the top three, JFK assassination is definitely top one or two. Now, what I mean by conspiracy theories is it's got so many different theories to it, whether it's CIA, whether it was mob, whether it was Cuba or Russia, whether LBJ was involved, George H. Walker Bush was involved, whether it was one shooter, two shooters, three shooters. Now people are talking about the limo driver being a shooter. Like there's so many different theories on this one subject that it makes the top three conspiracies of all time. And it's the most talked about. It's people have done show after show after show. There's been documentaries made on it. There's been people from prison who have admitted to it. There's been Hollywood has made shows out of it. Kevin Costner played the part in one of them. This is like one of the top 2 or 3 most popular conspiracies of all time. And I think the reason why it's so popular is because it has so many links to other things. Like, this is the grandfather. This is the godfather of all of it right here. It starts right here. What do you think there, Tammy?
I agree with that, and I do believe it's generational because you look at the presidents after them, the Bush and LBJ, and they took the country in completely different directions than the John F. Kennedy wanted to take it. And that, to me, that makes sense of what we think happened. Also, there's an author out there named James Johnston, who he said there's a document that exists out there that hasn't been turned over to the National Archives. And what it is a one-on-one conversation between LBJ and CIA Director John McCone right after Johnson took office after Kennedy's, unaliving. So he said that years later, the CIA did actually acknowledge that McCone withheld information from the commission investigations. So when the Warren Commission and the commission says, oh, it was one shooter, all this, we've done all this. Here it is, one person said he withheld information and he held it back. Why he held it back, we don't know, but he held it back. And like I said, this guy's an author, but he studied it. And, like you said, you can zigzag left and right, up, down, sideways, inside and out. And it's just crazy the places that it takes you. But the thing is, it still all takes you to bad corruption ties. It doesn't ever take you to a clean path of, this is what happened. It was an accident. This guy Oswald was crazy, blah, blah, blah. It takes you down this path of ugly corruption that we're still facing today, I might add.
Mm-hmm. John H. says the JFK files released so far has not really brought anything about this assassination, but more about the massive amount of interference by the USA carried out by foreign governments. Jeff B. makes a funny here where he says, I'm surprised they haven't blamed T yet for it. Mike from YouTube says lots of purposeful misinformation, I think. And I agree. I think a lot of it is distraction and misdirection. It's just, it was a horrific thing. Yes. And I see our brother John Estabrooks is also in chat as well. And for people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s that lived through this time when they were kids, teenagers, young adults, this was a horrific thing to see something like this, a beloved president lose his life right there in the public view. I couldn't even imagine having to go through that. We almost experienced that last July, with Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. And I couldn't even imagine the devastation that would have caused a lot of American people and people in general around the world of losing somebody that they feel so close to. And that's the thing that I believe Trump and John F. Kennedy have in common is their personality, their love for their country, and people felt like when they met them, they shook their hands, they went to some of like Trump's campaign things that he did and all the stuff. They felt and they still feel like they're really, really close to the president. And so when people love JFK and felt that close to him, to have him ripped from them and taken from him was devastating. And it's shameful that we can't get transparency from our government, and it's shameful that we can't get the answers, and it's just more of the same all the time. I want to say hello to Travis real quick. He bought us a coffee as well. He says, why doesn't Trump reinstate the Smith-Moose Act? It would take a lot of the false information away. Let me finish reading this. I didn't get the whole thing. I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. So that was Travis's comment on Buy Me a Coffee. Why doesn't Trump reinstate the Smith-Munns Act? I'm not familiar with that, Travis, so you might have to explain that there in the chat. It would take a lot of this misinformation away. So, very interesting comment from Travis. And again, I don't know exactly what he's talking about. I haven't heard of that, but it's thank you for the coffee. And just like I said, it's sad for people to have to go through a terrible event like that, Tammy.
Yeah, and don't forget, everybody loved Jackie too, and to see her bloodied and everything in her beautiful outfit, which was supposed to be a happy day, and then she had to get on the plane and watch LBJ being sworn in while her husband was in a coffin behind them, was horrifying. That is very, very, I mean, there's no words for it. But when you look now, you look at how that's happening with Trump, and it's happened so many times. We don't even know how many times, because they don't announce it every time somebody tries to take him out. Ask yourself why they're taking certain presidents out, or why they have in the past, including Lincoln. It's not just some deranged person, an innocent one person that's just kind of crazy and cuckoo and goes off one day. There's always major components behind it. And it once again, it goes back to money, power, control, and a direction that these so-called presidents, which become dictators or rulers, they want. And they don't care the price they have to pay, or anybody else has to pay around them, family, friends. It doesn't matter. They're going to get what they want. And that's the sad thing, that no president should ever have to go through that. We are supposed to be civil human beings, and the way we treat one another is bad enough, but then when it's representatives of our country, I mean, that's a whole different ball game. And they have to have a lot of bravery and courage and love, to me, for the country, if it isn't power on the other side. So either you love your country like JFK, like Abraham Lincoln, like Trump, or you're corrupt and you just want to build your fame and fortune and your kingdom here on earth. And that's the two sides you have when you're the president, I believe. There's no in between, because you either are bought and sold and paid for, or you're going to fight and you're going to be threatened with your life, and you're going to face resistance like Trump is with judges and everybody else under the sun right now. The man, for how many years now? 8 years? Is it going on 4, 5, 6? Yeah, like 8 or so years, has been nothing but beat upon and pulled apart and picked apart.
Here's Cindy D's comment. She says they've had 62 years to rewrite history. I don't believe we'll ever know the truth. I'd like to know how many people in chat, whether you're in Facebook, Rumble, or YouTube, and please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, share us out tonight. But how many people in chat tonight, whichever chat you're in, believe Cindy D's comment there, that they've had way too much time to rewrite history, to change things? Because me personally, I have to agree a little bit with Cindy D there. It's been a long time, and who knows what they've done in 62 years. Travis says it was repealed by Obama, and the media and the government could lie to us. I think I know which one you're talking about there, Travis. Thanks for explaining that. Roselle Roberts on Facebook says it's all the presidents that tried to change the monetary system. So let that sink in for just a minute. When you're talking about Lincoln, and you're talking about JFK Jr., and then you're talking about Donald Trump himself, when they're trying to change the monetary system, when they're trying to get away from the Federal Reserve, from fiat currency, when they're trying to set things back and set things right and get us out of the slavery that we're in, it seems like bad things happen. Sean on Facebook also says Bush Jr. did the same with the CIA in 9/11. Now, that's a whole nother show, but he's definitely, Sean's definitely talking the things that we're always talking about, right? And John Estabrook says, without the redacted documents, hidden names of people investigated, we are still not seeing seeing what JFK Jr. saw. Now, there was a comment there where JFK Jr. actually got to see all of the documents before that bad day happened. It was like 3 years before that happened, I think. Let's see. I want to make sure that I catch any of the comments there. Any new information about what happened at the CIA today and the D.C. area, if known? Tammy, you want to talk on that for just a minute? Because I think we got another coffee bot for us, so I got to look at my phone.
Okay, go ahead.
But that was pretty much a big nothing burger, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the only thing that I could find out that I saw, I was watching the live raw feed that they had from DC. And, it was made to be like you thought somebody was in the building barricaded in, and they had bomb squads out and stuff like that. But it ended up being some super long-haired, blonde-haired, hippie-looking dude. No shots were fired. He was barricaded in the entrance of the CIA headquarters, and he surrendered. In there, he's in custody, and I haven't heard any more. It was just really weird when you saw the amount of military and police and
SWAT was there.
SWAT team and all that there. It was incredible. But like I said, there was nothing more about it. It obviously they are going to investigate and they're going to continue to find out. And I'm sure we'll find out more information. But that was a big nothing burger. But it could have been something. People were saying it could have been a big deal. And
I thought it was. I thought after the files got dropped, I thought, man, shit's going down. Tammy, go live. Let's get a hold of Jeff B. Like, I'm at work, I can't do nothing. But I was getting ready to call the hounds, right? Carol bought us a coffee, and she said it's good to see you back on the screen again. So thank you so much for that coffee, Carol. You know what, Tammy? I think we might get enough coffees tonight to get you through tomorrow through headline hits.
Yeah,
right?
that's awesome.
We've got a couple. We've got a couple of them. So Michelle Gill says, "Do you think that JFK Jr. knows the truth or knew the truth? However you want to look at that." I believe that he did know the truth. Whether you believe he's still around or not, I do believe that he did know the truth. And I'd like to get comment from Jeff B. if he thinks the same thing, and anyone else in chat that wants to make comment. Do you guys believe, that JFK Jr. knew the truth or knows the truth? Whichever direction that you want to believe, I don't really care. But I believe he did for sure.
And remember, JFK Jr. and Trump were good buddies. Don't forget that. So whatever JFK Jr. knew, you knew Trump knew. And then I just had this thought pop into my head here. What if Trump, the reason he released all of this stuff, these files, wasn't for the dirty details in them about who did it, or anything beyond what we already know, but just to prove and show how corrupt government is, because that's the whole kit and caboodle of his presidency this time around, is he wants to wipe it all out and start over. What if we're zooming in too close to things that we already know and we're trying to find more? What if he just wanted to show us, say, here they are. Ask yourselves, why wouldn't any other president do what I just did when he's the one that's trying to break out the corruption? So that thought kind of just crossed into my mind.
Well, that was a good one, Tammy. So I was reading today where the United States government actually loaned OSWALD $437.68 to fly back from Russia when he was defected to Russia. They actually loaned him a little over $400 to get him back to the United States of America. I find that to be very odd and very weird. And of course, the CIA, one of their famous quotes is, well, we had him on the radar, so they knew about Oswald clear back in 59 when he was talking to the Russians, when he was talking to the Cubans. So again, a lot of this stuff to me doesn't add up, right? Why would they just let him wander around? I mean, they were even getting into his mail, Tammy. They were digging through his mail, opening his mail for years. They were reading his mail, and you can't say that he didn't know that they were doing it. I mean, come on. When you watch the movies, when you watch the movies, these idiots sit in like a black sedan or a black SUV nowadays, in the 2000s, and they sit like a block from your house, and if you don't know that they're there, you're either blind or dumb. Like, these guys aren't stealth, in my opinion, at all. At least from the movies, right? I mean,
Right.
it's the movies.
Yeah. But, there's a lot of people that probably did know everything, but they kept their mouth shut. Otherwise, they would be unalived. It's crazy. Like I said, the lengths that they will go, the arms that they can extend out to eliminate whoever they want to eliminate if they start talking or think they're going to talk. It's crazy, and it just shouldn't be that way. It is because of power, greed, and corruption. That's the only reason that any human being could even think like that or perform like that. So, and then you got to remember, these people have kids and they have kids. So it's generational to know, how can they not be messed up to know that their family member was involved in some way and live their lives and be normal. Hunter Biden, far from normal.
Yeah.
Imagine the things.
Well, I found him today. He's wandering around. I found him today. I want to make a couple of comments real quick. George from Facebook says they need to wake up the masses before the Epstein files. The corruption is deep. So here's a good question. Is this just a dry run for the Epstein files? And then you sent me a video earlier today also that Secretary of Defense is requesting that the Benghazi documents to be released to the public. You want to talk about some crazy shit. How about 33,000 emails? How about an indictment of Hillary Clinton? How about Timber?
Yeah.
I think that possibly it's possible that this is just the beginning of a flood of information coming out. And I believe with the information, there will be indictments. But I'm like some of the viewers here. I'm not even okay with indictments. And I know Jeff and I have talked about this several times. Where's the damn arrest? I don't want just indictments. I want to see people handcuffed. I want to see them thrown in the back of a van. I want to see them hauled off. Like, I want to see shit actually happening, because this talk is just cheap. We've been hearing it for years. It's time to get some action behind your words. And that was the one thing that was so frustrating with Trump in his first term for me. And I know I'll piss people off, but when he said, hey, elect me and I'm going to arrest her, I wanted to see that shit happen, and maybe this time we will, Tammy.
I have hope that we will, because when I saw that article today, I was like, oh yeah, here's Hillary's name, and here's Hillary's turn, because that's the big one, right? Because of everything with the Clintons, and we know all about their friends that have unfortunately met an unbreathing moment in their life, many of their friends. And so that is one I think people are really looking forward to, her and Billy. And we've all heard the bad things about her as a person. She's a nasty person. She hates America. She hates us, we the people. I knew somebody that worked in the Capitol Police and was around her and told me some stories. Jeff Bees worked with them. So you know what? Nasty person for whatever reason. And, she needs to pay for what she said. So I'm hoping that, and what she's done, and all her different foundations and stuff. And I'm looking forward to Trump making it true when he said on that debate stage long ago, because if I were president, you would be in jail. I want that to come true. So I'm going to do this a lot about that, because when I saw her name today, it excited me a lot about them wanting to find everything going on with that.
Well, I keep thinking that Obama will be the first arrest that shocks the world. It very well could be Hillary Clinton as well. I mean, we talked about the birth certificate and the Social Security, more importantly, Social Security number last night with Jeff B. when it comes to Barry, and then what about the letters? So I was watching something else the other day. Jeff and I talked about it. What about all those envelopes that they got at George Sr.'s funeral? And then there's like 10,000 indictments. Now, we had brought up the indictments years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago during Trump's first term, there was like 10,000 indictments. Now, I asked Jeff the other day, how long can those stay sealed? Like, do they have an expiration date on them? No, they very well could be broke open now, and people get indicted and people get arrested. Yeah, is that going to happen? I don't know. I just know that it's pretty interesting.
It is. It is because she got away with all that. I mean, eliminating the emails, bleaching the computers or phones and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it goes on and on. We know. So we hear that and then nothing happens. And we think, well, why is that? How can that be? And how is that fair when Trump has been, reviewed every way, shape, and form about every aspect of his life? His home was raided, Mar-a-Lago, all that. And they find nothing. They can't find him being a liar. They can't find him with his buildings, having bad dealings, real estate bad dealing. They found nothing. But over on this side, we have it with the Clintons. We have it with the Bushes. We have it with the Bidens. So, yeah, that justice scale is tilted far too high for the bad side. We need to balance that out and even it out for sure.
Well, I'm going to wrap this up. We're 50 minutes in. I think we've talked about as much as we possibly can about these documents for tonight. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. Thank you guys for the coffees. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share us out. But I'm going to leave with this question here for you, Tammy, for your final thought.
Okay.
Because I think it's a good one. If I can remember what it was. If I can remember what it was, I'm gonna have to bounce around here for a minute until I think about it, because I was reading some of the chat. But hold on, I'll think about it. It was actually a good one.
Jeff B. Long live Joe Biden.
Yeah, long live Joe Biden.
Yeah,
oh, I know what it was. Okay, here it is.
Yes.
Okay, 5D chess.
Okay.
We've got Kash Patel. And we've also got Dan Bongino, which I think on a chessboard, those are your knights, right? You got rooks, you got knights, you got castles, you got the queen, you got the king. I believe that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are the knights. How important on that chessboard, and what do you think might happen with Kash Patel and Dan Bongino? Now you got Batman and Robin.
I totally agree. And I think I saw a picture of Dan Bongino after he was sworn in, and all of a sudden he switched up from podcaster and serious to like warrior. He means business. He was inside. He worked for the Clintons too, remember? So he knows. And Kash Patel, they went after Kash too. So they both are not there for vengeance. They're there for justice, because it has marred what they have done for this country as people and citizens, military, and in the government themselves. So I do believe they love this country, love the people, and I believe we're going to see a lot of fireworks. I don't think they're going to hold back. There's no time to hold back. What have we got to lose but the country? And nobody wants that. So now it's like full force forward, man. It can be rough talk because a lot of people are dropping curse words. People are speaking loudly. Greg Gutfield the other night said, "Shut the F up, John Roberts," because he came out after Trump. And I'm telling you what, people have like, whoop, whoop, the teapot is boiling over. People don't want talk, nice, gentle talk and compromise. They want to go after it and hold people accountable. And I hope that's going to happen.
Well, Travis bought us another coffee. He makes comment here. I think we have to be careful with all this because it's so much information comes out. They can scream that they can't get a fair trial. Travis has said that a couple of times now. I've heard him say that a couple of times. He's afraid of a mistrial or them screaming and can't get a fair trial because we're putting out all this information. I don't know. Could that be a Gitmo thing?
Could be. Doesn't that trump everything else? Trump card, get it?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
They sure do have Gitmo all cleaned up and built nice and purty.
Yeah, they do. Here's my final thought. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Really appreciate all the support. Thank you for all those coffees. Tammy is going to enjoy some coffee tomorrow when she's getting up, trying to get ready. She's burning the candle at both ends. So thank you for that support. Really appreciate it tonight. We appreciate it every time. So my final thought is this. There is going to be, in my opinion, that golden age. And what I've noticed lately is I've heard that Kennedy had said the same thing, and other people have said the same thing about the golden age. And I believe that if Trump can succeed in these 4 years of changing things for the better for you, me, and all the American people, whether you're left, right, whether you're Republican, Democrat, and people see that, I think that we have a shot at 2028 electing another conservative, hopefully somebody like J.D. Vance or somebody similar that can continue to carry on what Trump has started. That's my hope for the golden age, is that it doesn't just last 2 or 3 years or 4 years, but it continues to grow and to get better for each and every one of us. That's my final thought for tonight. Thanks for joining us, Tammy. Thank you, as always, for being a co-host. Don't forget to check Tammy out tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Headline Hits. And then don't forget this Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Rumble only. We have music videos, MTV. Jump over there and listen to great music. Throw out some requests for the producers so that we can have a good time Saturday night listening to music. And with that being said, I'm the guy controlling everything tonight. That's awesome.
No producers tonight.
no producers tonight. That being said, we're going to go ahead and jump out of here, and we will catch you on the next one. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye. You can see it in the sky. No use running, if you do, you won't survive. People are sick and people are tired, but inside of me rages a fire. We the people are going to burn this corruption to the ground. Yeah, we the people will fight fire with fire starting now. Going to burn this corruption to the ground. Yeah, we the people will fight fire with fire starting now. Gonna watch them run, gonna watch it burn, gonna watch it all come down. Yeah, we the people are gonna burn this corruption to the ground. With fire starting now.